Now, again, I don't traditionally watch the All-Star game. I mistakenly turned the channel on when I was looking for something when a rerun of Yellowstone went to commercial, and I was like, ah! And then I just didn't change for maybe a minute. But there is that clever accounting of, like, how'd the game rate? Well, if you pool all the numbers together, there were actually more impressions and more people watched. I don't know what the reality to it is. But anyone can watch and go like, that was bad. Even LeBron, when he came off the court, thought that was bad. Adam Silver kind of pumped it up as it will be better, and then you could hear from the deflation in his voice, it was bad. No one watched and said, this is a great representation of the 450 best basketball players on earth. Did anybody watch that? Not the representation that you want. But I do think that there's a certain amount of, what's the word I'm looking for? Credit, blame. Look, we do this all the time with presidents, right? What did the market do when the president was in office? Right? What did the market do? It doesn't necessarily mean supposedly presidents don't really have anything to do with the market, right? The Fed is not supposed to be influenced politically. And the only thing that seems to, we think, help the markets, one would think a Republican would help the markets, although the last 4 years have been spectacular if you play the market, right? Then there was COVID, then the post-COVID explosion, then the inflation because of all the money we dumped in. We dumped all the money in because it was COVID. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on. But generally, when we elect or choose not to elect people, we say, are we better off now, 4 years later, than we were before? And the president, whether it really is their fault or whether it really is something that they did to help it, they get the blame or they get the credit, right? So what if we did the same thing for LeBron James? What if, again, just stick with me for a second. Okay, what if we did the same things for LeBron James? And I would say LeBron, the LeBron era, it's obviously been longer than 4 years. And part of it is the longevity of his career. But LeBron James, in the LeBron James takeover of the NBA, when did that start? Because you can't be the guy in the league until you win the league, correct? And really, it's probably until you win the league a couple times. So if we're fair about it, and I don't know if he truly took it from Kobe, because one of the things we do now is we misremember Kobe Bryant. Like, it wasn't Kobe's NBA. It just never really was. It doesn't mean he wasn't the best and most dynamic and, frankly, most hated player. But the reverence that people have for Kobe Bryant now, especially NBA players now, and the Mamba mentality, those aren't his contemporaries. Those aren't guys who played with him. They respected him, but they didn't like him. Right? I would say Michael Jordan was revered, feared, and respected. I think for Kobe, it was more respected. I think for LeBron James, there's a reverence to his talent, his longevity, and I definitely think that he wants to be liked. Whether they all really like him or not, he wants to be liked. Like, he's forced this Steph Curry friendship. If you like, that's a perfect example of it. Like, people are like, well, is Steph kind of creeping up on the legacy of LeBron James? And remember, they didn't like each other, or at least Steph didn't really like LeBron, never really engaged in any of the LeBron talk, even when Steph won a unanimous MVP. And I thought LeBron was right for what he said. He just probably was the wrong guy to say it. Or he's like, look, Steph does historic things. He's incredible. But when you talk about unanimous MVP, you know, there's a lot of things that make up the MVP. In other words, what he was saying is like, I do way more to carry a team than that guy does. So I don't think that it's a real friendship. I just don't. It's like we're trying to figure out if Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are real. I can tell you that LeBron James and Steph Curry, that's not a real friendship. It ain't like every time Steph comes to town, he's like texting LeBron like, let's get dinner. That's not happening. Not happening. But if we look at LeBron James and his career, like when did the LeBron era take over? We okay with somewhere in the 2009, 2010 variety? Right? He won his first MVP in 2009. He got to Miami in 2010. He won a championship in 2012. That was the 2011-2012 season. That's about when the era took over. That's when it became kind of his league. His league. And so I think the thing that most of us see through with LeBron is he never takes ownership of anything unless it's seen as a good thing, which is very normal for most of us, right? Only give me credit, don't give me blame. But that's not leadership, right? Leadership is my bad. Leadership is, I said something and people took it and ran with it, and I should have stepped in and said something. Coaches hired, coaches fired. LeBron, I've never had anything to do with it. Players are moved. LeBron, I've never had anything to do with it. His name mentioned in a trade. I just found out about it on Twitter like everybody else. I just can't believe that happened. And he does the same thing with the NBA. Like, look, now he's 39 years old. Now he's, and if we want to say, well, like, no, it's never been, he doesn't have that much power and control. And like, dude, his nickname is the King. He's got the chosen one across his back. He's a 4-time MVP. He's won 4 NBA championships. And you have a substantial number of players in the NBA. Granted, they don't have the depth of knowledge. Some of them weren't alive when Michael Jordan played, but they'll say like he's the greatest of all time. If you're that guy and you're that revered and respected by your contemporaries, well, then you're like E.F. Hutton. Oh, God, am I dating myself? Probably a little bit. Okay, so just side note, Doug Gottlieb in for Collins, I heard on Fox Sports Radio. E.F. Hutton was a financial advisor company, right? And they had a famous commercial series that said, when E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. Great ad campaign, right? Amazing ad campaign. Like, I love Mad Men, the show, but like, felt like 80s, maybe late 70s and 80s and early 90s with jingles. Where's the beef? The Doublemint twins. That was when marketing was at its absolute apex. Brilliant stuff. Anyway, if we're going to sit here and say, all right, his tenure is coming to an end, his reign, if he's the king, or his, what do they call it when you're a president, when your 4 years are up, when you're, what was the word I'm looking for? God, I'm just blanking on the word.
Is it tenure?
Yes.
Tenure.
When your tenure is up, we look back and say, all right, what happened? Whose fault is it? And you take the blame and you get the credit. It's like Bird and Magic, for example. Right? They get credit because under their reign, during their tenure of the 1980s, the league exploded. The rivalry between the Lakers and the Celtics was reformed. And the league went from on-tape delay for the NBA Finals to, frankly, the most popular professional sport. That's whether it's all of them, whether it's the timing, the proliferation of cable television, okay, whatever it is, Magic and Bird get credit for that. Jordan gets credit for the globalization of the game, right? Because he was the guy with the dream team. He did international stuff, and it's when people want to be like Mike, and he made people believe he could fly. If we want to look at causes for the All-Star Game debacle, for the things that we don't like, doesn't LeBron James get some of that blame? He absolutely does. Even when he walked off the floor Sunday, he was like, man, it was basically saying like, yeah, it was bad. We got to do something about it. What do you got to do something? You're the leader. You like to say this is your league, and this has progressively gotten worse, not gotten better. I didn't. The truth is that the Spurs were the first to tap into the, why do we have to play our guys all the time? If it's not a good idea for us, why do we have to? Remember, Greg Popovich had guys listed as old. That's why Tim Duncan missed games. He wasn't BSing anybody. He's like, look, they're old. I ain't going to play them every night. But it is during LeBron James' reign. And I know injuries and age play a factor. But can we point out with the LA Lakers, he's played 55, 67, 45, 56, 55, 49 games? Right? And look, some of me says like, well, he's finally gotten smart. Right? Don't be putting yourself out there every night. But again, it's a different set of rules when you're the king, when it's your league. That's the league that you got to show up to every night. Sorry, dude. You know, you got to kiss babies and shake hands. You got to do all these little things you don't want to do. Why? Because you're the president. Why? Because it's your league. The globalization of the NBA, which started under Jordan, right, has gone full, it's fully into bloom now. I mean, the league is frankly dominated at the top by the internationally born star. Giannis, Jokic, Embiid, Luka. Right? All of this during LeBron James' reign, during his tenure. And I got to be honest with you, I think he should deserve some of the blame. How does he play? Downhill bully ball. Now, look, some of the other things that people copy, which is great, which is he is willing to make the great pass. Right? He's more Magic than Jordan in that he would rather make the right play and the pass to somebody else making the shot oftentimes than making it himself. So some of that is good, and a lot of that is replicated by young stars, college stars, professional players as well. But he doesn't play like Jokic. He doesn't play like Luka. Right? Probably more like Embiid, to be totally honest. Right? And my point is that when we're looking at things to blame, how did we get here? It's completely fair to say, well, there's some definite good things that have happened in LeBron James' tenure. Right? He took the bullet for other people in leaving his hometown team in his prime to go win a championship and try something else. It's a brave thing. It's a brave thing. No one will ever compare that. Just like Durant left the team that drafted him. It wasn't his hometown team, but it was the team that was just beaten by Golden State to join Golden State. But it was never Durant's league. LeBron did it before that. LeBron caught a lot of the heat. He wore the black cap for a year and then showed he could figure it out and won some championships as they added Ray Allen as another piece. But I just think it's interesting, like when we take stock of the NBA, and I would gladly tell you that the NBA is more talented, more skilled, has and I think more imaginative offensively than at any other time. Go back and watch 90s, even Jordan basketball or whatever. It's a lot more imaginative, bait and switch and ball movement and all kinds of different dolled up stuff. There are good things that have happened while LeBron has been the king. And if we're going to give him the blame when things go bad, we got to give him the credit when things go good. Okay? Taking care of your body, that's become cool with LeBron. That's a great thing. His longevity is amazing. His desire to play defense, to be a two-way champion, big thing. His desire to pass, to make the right play, huge. They are good things. But if we're going to blame guys they don't have any sort of allegiance to their club, that's LeBron. If we're going to blame the debacle that is the All-Star game, that's LeBron. And even though LeBron played mostly mid to high 70s in games in his career, when it's become a major issue, okay, when resting players has become the bane of the TV world's existence, in the last 6 years, he has only played more than 60 games once. And granted, there was the groin injury. Hey, there's been a myriad of little injuries here or there, and there's been major injuries. And then last year, of course, we remembered somehow heroically he played through injury that would have to require surgery. It never did, but it was heroic. Being king of the NBA is like being president of the United States. All the good, all the bad, you catch all the blame. And LeBron is trying to duck and dodge from the blame. Rightfully so. But the All-Star Game debacle is only part and has to be part of his legacy.